take no notice of how much mess is in the van, I do apologise for that, but what I wanted to show you was my new LED strip light that I've installed down below the footwell here and above the doorway along there. And what I've done is, to get this to work, is I've taken the spare 12 volt cable I had that came off my control panel and I've linked it into this little device down here. Now this is a 12 volt dimmer switch, so at night I can rotate this and change the brightness of the LEDs, which is perfect. Now to get this set up, I cut this length for the top part and I stuck it just on this inner ridge here, and I led the cable through here and round through the rubber seal and then down to the bottom here. And with this one, I had it stuck to the bottom here, fed it round through there, up round here, into the unit here. Now this might seem like an odd location for where I'm putting the dimmer switch here, but I just think that if you're sat outside, you'll be at this sort of right height. You can just reach in, adjust how you want the lights to be, and it's nice and easy. You don't need to get in and out of the van. I'm super chuffed with how much the LED lighting is illuminating the floor around it. It's a lot brighter than I thought it was, because in the daytime obviously it's hard to tell, but this is fantastic. And with that dimmer switch it's perfect, because it means that if it's getting a bit too intense you can just dial it down a little bit, but it looks so badass. To add a switch so you can turn these lights on and off. Basically, if you pull out each light, you'll see that you're running a green and purple cable and a blue and white. Now you don't really need to worry about the blue and white, but the green and purple is the positive cable. Now there's 4 lights in the van. The cabling for the left side goes down this, obviously on the left side of the van, and the cabling for the right lights goes down the right side of the van. And what I've done here is where the positive comes in for the lights, I've trimmed them and used some Wago solderless connectors, and then gone from the positive light, I've just taken that positive cable all the way down to my switch, and then the negative goes back up to another Wago connector and then rejoins to the other side of the cut line. I've done exactly the same on the other side. Now the trick to this is knowing which cables to cut and basically just how to connect it up. Like cut off a little bit of the cable strap tape they've got there, and I've separated up the cables. Now there's only, on this side, on the left hand side, there's only 2 cables that are green and purple, so you're going to be pretty damn certain about which ones you need to cut. There is one that's brown and green, but you just obviously be careful when you're choosing the colours. But yeah, basically you snip each of the cables, and then what I've done is, the side that comes in from the front of the van, I put 2 in one side of the Wago connector, and I put my red cable in the other side and clip those shut. And then I've got another Wago connector, and the other 2 sides I put into one side of the Wago connector, and that is then the negative cable on the other slot. And basically that is just that means that the power then goes down the red cable from the front of the van through my switch, and then when I switch it, it goes back up through the black cable and back towards my light system. Now easily enough, I've just done exactly the same on the other side, but there's something a bit more annoying about the right hand side of the van, the bit that's above the driver's seat. Now they seem to have a lot more cables on this loom, and there's actually, annoyingly, there's 4 green and purple cables. I actually made the mistake of cutting the 2 other wrong ones, and then I had to resolder them. You can see them there, I've just used some heat shrink around them. And then I did eventually get the 2 right ones. Now, I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly how to determine which one's the right cable unless you somehow removed all of this black tape and followed the cable to the front, but what I found is the two green and purple ones that I cut before, one of them had a lot more purple than green, and the other one was just a normal green and purple, but it was like those two were both quite thick, whereas these two are marginally thinner cables. I can't guarantee that this will be, if you cut those two, it'll be the right cut, so only do this if you're brave, because as you can see, even I thought I'd had the right thing, but I cut the two wrong ones. Doesn't matter though, I resoldered it, it was absolutely fine, and now they work perfectly well again. But once you've done that, you do exactly the same as what you've done before, so that side comes from the van, put both ends of the cables into one side of the Wago connector, and then the red cable into the other side of the Wago connector. Then that red one goes off to the switch again, black one comes back from the switch, into the Wago connector, out the other side to the lights again. Now if you don't feel very confident about your soldering skills, just in case you do get it wrong above the driver's side, you could look at locating the green and purple cables as they go in towards the lights and cutting them in there. I was going to do this originally, but it meant that I'd have to use up a hell of a lot more extra cable, and to be honest I just didn't need to. I know that if I mucked up I could have just resoldered them. Everything's working fine. And now at night, when someone goes to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, I'm not going to get woken up by bright dazzling lights, which is so good.